Hello and welcome to the community podcast. And this time, the first time, the premiere, the very first time in English, as I have very nice guests who only speak English. So, of course, this podcast will be in English. So, welcome, Princess D and Clinton Swain. I'm really, really happy to have you both here. The last 10 years I came to know you and came to come to your events changed a lot in my life. And so I'm very happy to celebrate my 10th anniversary with your company, with Frontier Family, here with you in a podcast. Yeah, so I'm telling my friends a lot about what I experience when I go to London. You are all over, you're internationally everywhere in a lot of countries, yeah. But so far I've only been to London. And when I go to London and when I come back, I have lots of stories to tell. And people always ask me, what is this crazy thing, this Frontier family? What does it do? What is it all about? And I just usually I just refer to it to my crazy community or my completely different mastermind or something like that. And then people are asking me for more. And then I talk something about gamification and personal development and business development in a very special under pressure environment. But yeah, then I start really talking a long time. So I'm really eager to know how you explain it in yeah, just some minutes. What is Frontier Family? What are you doing there? What are we doing there?
Frontier Family, Frontier Trainings is a company I created over 20 years ago. And it's about teaching people business and life skills, but in a fun, game-based, experiential learning way. And just like you can't explain to someone who's never been on a bicycle what it feels like to ride a bicycle, it's very hard to explain Frontier Trainings for people who've never been there because it's high engagement, high involvement. You aren't sitting there listening to someone speak and talk about content. You're playing, you're involved, you're up out of your chair, you're interacting with other people. And there's a lot of people out there who say they do gamification, they do experiential type learning, but we've never met anybody in the world who does it at the same level of craziness, like you mentioned, that we do. Because we use costumes and props and music, and it's highly engaging to the point where you're immersed. For the entire 3 days, you're immersed in this type of training, and especially the introduction one, which is called Play to Win.
What I like about Frontier Trainings is when Clinton decided to do the trainings, he chose to make it a lifetime membership. So it's not like people come in and they dip into one course and you never get to see them again, which is why we call it Frontier Family, because the members who join the community are part of the family and become like family from around the world and spend years and years and years of their life together learning and growing. And instead of calling it just a community, we called it Frontier Family because that's what it is for us and for a lot of people in the family.
Yeah.
The play to win is the introduction area. That's where people come in, they get to experience it and see if it's right for them. But it's not right for everybody. Some people don't like playing games. Some people don't like being, in the spotlight, having to get up and share and have that pressure cooker that happens in the training room. But to us, that's where the growth happens. The growth happens through challenge, through obstacles to overcome, through a community environment where you're working, growing, and playing together. I couldn't do anything else. I don't think there's any other job on the planet that would allow me the joy and satisfaction I have of being in the training room working with people.
I can, yeah, I can just emphasize this, and I just can, yeah, it's so crazy what happened to me during the last 10 years, coming regularly to the trainings, yeah, especially if you're saying people don't like to be in the spotlight, or some people don't like in the spotlight. I don't know if you even remember, but 10 years ago, I wouldn't go on the stage once, yeah, I was just terribly afraid of going at the stage, yeah. I was playing the games. I could manage all the pressure, but I didn't want to present myself even for some hello or something. I wasn't there once, yeah. And today I'm having speaking engagements, yeah.
Here you are
Running retreats in different countries and traveling and speaking
and doing podcasts and everything else, and it's like it's what I love about Frontier is it just unlocks parts of people that enables them to expand and grow in ways they didn't think was originally possible. And so people who are shy, quiet, reserved, providing they stay in the environment, they just start opening up. And then suddenly, like yourself, here you are running a podcast, running retreats, and impacting people's lives in a way you didn't think possible.
Yes, yes. And I just imagine that people are still thinking, but what are they doing there? So could you maybe give one example of what's happening there? Maybe one of the games or something, so that there is a little bit of understanding what we are doing there. But there's so many different things, but just one example maybe.
Couple of the games to give them some idea, because if they have one, then the whole course becomes about that one game, but it's not. The course has about 8 to 10 different games in there. So let's talk about the big one, which is called Realms of Plantasia. In this game, the teams are people are broken into teams, and they're building a kingdom or building a realm. So each one becomes the leader, becomes a lord or a lady, and they're having to build this realm out. And the pressure of the person wearing the crown is enormous, as you know. You know, the pressure of having to wear this crown and being responsible. And this might only be a team of like 5, 6, 8 people you're managing, but you've got deadlines to make. You've got to go and coordinate the money, the resources, the commitment, the planning on the board. You really are running an entire business in this simulated environment set in the medieval period. And so that game has so many layers to it. There's so many levels of learning to that game that I could write a PhD just about that one game because there's so many learnings. Pedal to the metal. Do you want to share about that?
Pedal to the Metal is a very, very fun game. Unlike Realms of Plantasia, where there a huge amount of stress. Yes, there is some amount of stress that builds up, but it's so much fun with Lego, putting Lego pieces together and systemizing your process and talking to the team, communication, and doing it together. It is amazing to watch people cut out their time, shave their time from 1 minute or 2 minutes down.
From 10 to 15 minutes.
In the beginning, yes.
Down to 1 minute.
For the first time when they're doing it, sometimes, yeah. Sometimes some teams don't even get it in 10, 15 minutes. But yes, from there to coming down to 1 minute or 30 seconds. So again, relating it to the business, how do we take that? Because whatever we learn in the training room, whatever games we play in the training room, we are taking learnings from there and putting it in our life, putting it in our business. And how are we going to communicate in our business? How are we going to shave time off? How are we going to make it effective? And how are we going to become efficient at doing things? And people learn that in so much fun way that it doesn't leave them. It sticks with them. It stays with them for years and years and years. Clinton still gets messages from people who attended Play to Win 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 12 years ago. And they're like, I still remember the flip charts from the training room. I still use some of these things. And they mentioned those flip charts. And they're like, we use this in our daily life and we remember this even now, even if some of them have never come back to the training room after that. So it's just amazing to watch that.
Yeah.
And the whole environment is designed to be fun and enjoyable. So the whole idea of gamification is that people get rewarded for the behavior we want. We want people to share on stage. So people get a card every time they go on stage and they take that back and they get points. They get scored for that. If they start negotiating in the training room, they get a card. That card ends up being points. That all the games they play, they earn points for. If they're hungry for coaching, which we want to encourage them to be hungry for coaching, they get a card and they go and take that back to the table and they get to process that. And in the end of the course, you get a score. And the score tells you how big you played in the course. How much did you actually play full out in the course? And so I've never seen a course out there, a business course, where you get a score telling you how well you performed in the course, right? Because every single factor in this course measures towards your grand total, your victory points at the end. And now the reason why that is so incredible is because now next time you come back, you've now got a score to beat. You now know what your previous best was, and you can start improving it and use it as a way to get better. It's like you don't go to a gym, work out once, and be fit for life. Right? You go to a gym, you repeatedly work out, and you get stronger over time. Same with the training room. People should be coming and doing play to win 3, 4, 5 times. What about people do it 10, 15, 17, 20 times? Because every time they come back, they've grown as a person, they've learned new lessons, and the way the games are facilitated, they walk out of it with a different experience. And so the gamification, what I love about that, I love play to win before I added all the gamification side. Now I've got a whole new level of appreciation for play to win, which makes it even way more fun for me as a facilitator. Having all these gamifications, it's a lot more work. It's a lot more work. But putting the medals around people's necks, how was that for you when you were receiving the medals in play to win?
Yeah, I can only emphasize everything you're saying is so true for me. So I have done play to win for 3 times now. And even though I wasn't on stage once and the first time, I was applying for the crown and you gave it to me. Yeah. I once asked you afterwards, why did you do that? And you just said, I saw something in you. I saw that you were performing, you were just not on stage. Yeah. And so this changed so much for me. I even mentioned it in a whole chapter in my very first book, yeah, about wearing the crown, what it did to me, yeah. And now altogether, I've done Play to Win 3 times. I mean, mostly I'm in the advanced courses, of course, but in Play to Win I've done 3 times, and I can, yeah, it's just as you said, yeah. Each time it's a completely new layer, and just the realms of Plantasia, for example, as it is the very big game in this Play to Win. Um, I think only the last time, which was this Easter, I got how much I didn't get. Yeah, I think I'm just even at the starting level of grasping how huge that is and how many layers it has, and I'm sure I can play it many more times, and we still will be learning so much about leadership, about delegation, about yeah, communication. It's so much, yeah, and it's the thing is always, as you said, it's this pressure, the pressure that doesn't give you any time to think, which is in almost every game, I would say, or it's in every game, yeah. So you just act as you are used to act. And then you find how stupid it's sometimes how you act, yeah. Sometimes even only after when you're sharing, which is afterwards or the next day, yeah. The sharing is also a very huge component for me because really reflecting on what you did, yeah. Because often I can, when I'm in this situation, I see, oh, that's the same shit that happens to me in real life, or the other way around in real life, that I say it's the same that happened in the game to me. Yeah. And going on stage afterwards and talking about this, yeah, and reflecting it is, of course, a very important learning lesson, but also listening to the others who maybe had the same role as I had and had completely different obstacles and to completely different outcomes. Yeah, it's so crazy. Yeah, so this is really the frontiers we have in our heads. Yeah, the things that hinder us from being in our full greatness, and it's not the same to every person. Every person has another history and has other blind spots. Yeah, so this alone is so interesting and so, yeah, awesome. So breathtaking in what you can learn. You can't even put words around it, I would say.
Very nice to see. So what growth have you seen for people inside realms of Plantasia? Just that one game. How have you seen people change who have played it multiple times?
People who have played it multiple times are more prepared. They come with, they take the learnings from the first time they play and they come with that preparation. But then they realize, oh, I could do that and that and that. And then there's the next level that unfolds and unlocks for them. And then they come more prepared the next time. And with all that preparation and what they learn, they're able to go out there and actually implement and do deals and contracts and do negotiation. And that gives them another level of understanding. And they bring that level of understanding back into the training room to play the games. And it's like a cycle. And it's beautiful to watch, especially a lot of the teenagers and youngsters who have come to the training room and learned this, taken it out into their lives in the real world and then brought it back. And they come with so much more excitement for it, as much as there is dread, which there always is. But then the amount of excitement that I know it better now and I'm here to learn more.
Yeah.
And the openness with which they come in, that I'm going to be able to put everything I know to implementation and be able to learn more and then take it out there because it's all exciting. It's fun. Unlike adults sometimes who feel bad, who feel guilty, who feel embarrassed, and we have our own emotions that come up in the training room. Oh, I'm not good enough and I should have done this better. It's a little different for teenagers who do it slightly differently.
They learn
But
so fast. The young ones, they learn so fast, yeah. I envy them, but I'm still on my way. What I think but also should be mentioned is that it's not games as people usually think of, yeah, like some Monopoly or something, yeah, where you just yeah you earn a lot of money or something. It's always this thinking out of the box, this being innovative. You always have like somewhere to bring your new inventions, yeah, to make things faster, to make things huger. So it's never about just accumulating money or something. It's always about how can I have the big leap? How can I really turn things around? How can I get systems? How can I have inventions? How can we all play together? That's also something very important, I think. Yeah. So it's not this one against the other. It's always I see it in such a huge context in how we appear in the world and how we want to act in the world and how we can learn more togetherness and more cooperation. And this is also so important for me that the solutions are never in fighting each other, but always in finding consensus.
Yeah. I think, like you said, money is the end goal, but then money is the end goal for everyone. Whatever everyone's doing, people are running businesses because they want to earn money to have a better lifestyle. But then, other than the end goal, how do you get there? And the games teach you, like everything you just mentioned about collaboration, about community support, leadership, community, like teamwork, and so many other things that you get to learn during the different types of games you play. And yes, it's about what to do. We want to see in the real world out there. We want to see collaboration. We want to see communication. We want to see supporting each other and teamwork. And we're learning all that and taking it out there and creating a better world, even if it's our little world. But then the effects are enormous.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And another very important thing is about taking different roles, like being impersonating different persons, different versions of oneself. Yeah, like also being also having new clothes, also having the room ready, also wearing wigs and gear and everything. So I really find this great also like to be really a completely different person because a completely different person might be able to do things I cannot do as Meike. Yeah? So so I can experience it this way. And I think Clinton, you are really huge at that. You created so many characters. You call them the faculty of the Frontier family. Yeah. How many characters have you created so far?
Did a recent count. I think it was about 149. The way it happened was I was doing a business course, financial course on investing. And up until then, I was teaching all the content as me. And then one evening, I created a game set in a carnival. And I did it dressed up in a ringmaster's jacket, carnival master's jacket, big top hat, everything. And at the end of it, the students were loving it and raving, and they all wanted photos with the ringmaster. And the following morning in the debrief, they said, we want more of that. We want more of the costumes and the theatrics behind it. And that was the beginning, Micah. That was the beginning of the Frontier faculty. And from that point forward, all this content I teach was who would be a great representative to teach this content. And so it might be a king or a general or a fairy or a race car driver or a whole range of different 140 49 different personalities. And so each one is unique and different. The room gets themed differently. And then what happened, the students were loving it all so much, we then started creating opportunities for them to start dressing up and taking on different roles. And the first one the students really started to do was Rockstar Night.
Okay.
That was the first time the students started dressing up to do Rockstar Night, and they just loved it. The ability to dress up, be on stage, perform as a rock star, it just clicked. And the students were like, this is amazing. We loved it. And then we started opening up more courses that had students the opportunity to step out of who they are into a different role. And when you step into a different role, you get different perspectives, different beliefs, you've got different understanding of who you are on the planet. And it's like, sure, mind expanding. So when you step into the role of a general, or step into the role of a king, or step into the role of a magician, and write background and history of who they are, we expand as people. And for most of us, we live in a box. And we live in a very comfortable box of who we call ourselves. So I call myself Clinton. That's the name my parents gave me. And so as Clinton, I show up a certain way. Yeah, I've got a range of different clothes I wear. I put my glasses on or off. You know, my hair can be changed slightly. But I turn up as Clinton. Princess D has different outfits and stuff like that, but she's still Princess D. That's her essence and her energy in that box. But when we step into her rock star, Sensua, her rock star is very different than Princess D. Different personality, different beliefs, different attitudes, all of that. And by stepping into that role, she frees herself of the baggage of who Princess D is and takes on a whole new position on the everything we can be, and is free from her previous baggage. And so it's an amazing experience to step out of who we are into a new identity and get to live it, even if it's only for a couple of hours. So what's your experience of Sensua being different from Princess D?
I consider Sensua to be one of my biggest breakthroughs as a person. I am originally from India, and I was a very shy, conservative girl. And when I was asked to do the rock song on stage, I was dreading it. I was so blocked. It felt like, no, I can't do this. This is not happening to me. I can't sing. I can't dance. I couldn't dance to save my life. And it just felt like, how? But then when I attempted it, and I had to write a little bit of the background and think about, so Sensua is not Princess D. Sensua has different belief systems. Sensua is courageous. Sensua is outrageous. Sensua is this, that, and the other that Princess D is not. And then stepping into that role and going on stage and performing, yes, I was still nervous, and I was still feeling the weight of, will I be able to do it? But with time, I have been able to embrace, because it's not like that. You can't just shift. He has an expertise. He's been doing it for 20 years, and he can move between faculties and be congruent with them. But for me as a beginner, it was still, part of me was Princess D and part of it was Sensua. And with time, I've been able to be like, okay, now Sensua is here, and Sensua will perform, and Sensua will do what Sensua does, because this is who she is. She's a rock star. And that is a different experience. And then you walk away, and Princess D comes back, and it's like, I can carry part of Sensua in me, which is the whole goal of doing all these faculties, because then you take the essence of a lot of those faculties and carry them with you, because I can't dress up, or Sensua can't turn up for an interview or for a meeting. I have to go there and I have to be there. But as long as I'm carrying some of the self-confidence and some of the essence of Sensua and all my other faculties with me, I'm an expanded person. I am more than the Princess D who was in the past. So that's just beautiful how it unfolds and how it enriches your life to become a bigger, better, and expansive person.
Yeah. We will be meeting in a little bit over 2 weeks, and there will be the Trends Being workshop, which is exactly about this. Yeah, Clinton, you invented 12 archetypes of trainers, of speakers, yeah, which are like the rock star and the motivator and the executive and the jester and magician and so on and so on. And we will be dressed up as each of them and go on stage with that. And we, first of all, I'm in preparation now. I bought a ton of costumes and props and everything. We had to get a name for them, 5 beliefs, a bio, and so on. I'm still working on it. And I'm so much looking forward to bringing all my wigs and all that stuff to London and acting it out. Yeah.
Transcript. When I created it, I'd already had the rock star, I already had a couple of the other faculties. But when I was thinking about what makes someone as a speaker, as a communicator, what's the different essences of communication? And I went through and I sat down, and one day I just had sticky notes. I started putting them all up on the wall, and I distilled it down to 12. And now it's been 18 years that I've been running it, and I haven't added one, I haven't removed one. The 12 is just a beautiful set of different personalities that help people in anyone who's communicating. It doesn't matter whether you're a politician, whether you're an actor or actress on stage, whether you're a teacher at a school, whether you're a military commander, or whether you're, working any job. Every single person who's communicating taps into these 12 archetypes. And it just depends which ones they're using, and how good they are at using them is how effective they are as a communicator. So you have a dancer on stage. What's a dancer communicating? They might be communicating like enchantment, like wonder and awe and flow with the dance, which is tapping into a little bit of fairy. They might be tapping into like the huge leaps and everything, and like this sense of suspense and intrigue from the magician. Right? So they're going to be tapping into different archetypes. The politician on stage who's out there campaigning, they're going to be out there using their preacher archetype and using their commander archetype to be able to convey authority and importance. And, someone who's entertaining, might be using the rock star, or they might be using, if they're an actor, might be using the rock star, plus also the vulnerability of the emotion of the caregiver. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter. Whoever's communicating can look at the 12 archetypes and go, what am I using? And how can I up my level of that communication to be more impactful? And so in the course, all the students get to do all 12 archetypes. They get to be in that role and do a script or an exercise as that role for all 12. And it's doing the course, Meike, is incredible because your personality is shifting every 2 hours, 3 hours into a new exercise. And by the end of it, you're like, wow, I've stretched so far from who I was.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I was wishing for this course, as you might remember. So yeah, I'm really all into it. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
I went and rewrote a lot of the bios for those archetypes, my 12. I mean, I've had the 12 archetypes for some 18 years, but I actually went and wrote a lot more detail about each one of them. And it was like, to understand so much more about their personalities and why they are and everything else. Suddenly I have new appreciation for someone about who they are, why they are. And that means I can connect to them much deeper.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe one thing where this all comes a little bit from, I could imagine, is your huge collection of leadership portraits. I really want you to have to tell a little bit about that too, because this is really, I think it's world record what you are doing there, and it's such a great. It's such a great research. You're into history like nobody else I know. Yeah, you're really you know about all the periods, about everything, and you're always going there and learning more, and you're collecting leaders in a very special way. Do you want to tell about this one?
Let me get your perspective first. You've been there since almost the very beginning. The first 3 years into the process. What have you seen and observed by watching the whole World Leader Project unfold?
I have never been a history fan. I never liked history as a subject in school. But just how it is done, and it comes up in the training room where Clinton talks about the stories and uh, what has happened in different people's lives who he's portrayed as the world leaders out there. Watching the wall grow has been one aspect of it, from the number of portraits that have happened up to 686 right now. So watching the wall grow has been one thing. Being able to hear all the stories from their lives and why they are on that wall has been another. And it's inspiring in certain ways, it's enlightening in certain ways. And parts of it is like, they were also humans. They also had their flaws and they also had their mistakes. And as much as you might want to put them on a pedestal, they were humans. But then they were visionaries. They were people who created change. They were people who transformed certain aspects of, whether it was religion, whether it was art, whether it was business. They did something different and they started a movement. I'm in awe. Every time Clinton does that particular section during Play to Win, I just sit there and listen in awe. And some of the stories you get to hear more often than others. And it's still like, this is amazing. This is how people need to hear about all these leaders and learn and understand. And kids in school and college probably need to learn history in this way, rather than in the boring way that we usually get to learn in school. So I can see the vision of where Clinton had started and where he is right now. And I can see the inspiration of where it can go and the vision of where it can go, with these portraits being in schools and colleges, these portraits being in, people buy these portraits, people put them on the wall. I used to put them on the wall in my previous house. And just like 18 of them, 24 of them. And like Clinton says, they can become your mastermind and you can ask them questions. And when you have a difficulty in your life or relationship or business, you can go and talk to them. And that's what it's all about. They are there to provide you the answers from their experience, from their lives, of what they have seen, they have done. And I think it's magical to have these people who don't exist. A lot of them are not there on the planet anymore. And just to have their energy come to you and give you solutions and resolutions and inspiration.
I'm in awe of the project. When I fathomed it a long time ago, of going, let's do 800 portraits, getting it now to the point where we're almost at 700. It's been 17 years, 18 years, been working on this project right now. It's probably going to go for another 5.
Explain the project a little bit, because I think people don't really know what we are talking about. We know, but
what I did, I wanted to put on my wall some inspirational leaders. And so I went looking for pictures of Martin Luther King and Gandhi and Jesus and other leaders, the Dalai Lama, and I looked for pictures online or posters that I could buy, but they were all inconsistent. They were all either grainy if they were blown up large. And I've got a photo of them actually on the wall, the first set I ever did of things I found. And it worked, but it wasn't what I really wanted. What I really wanted was really good quality portraits, all the same style. So I went to hire a painter to paint for me. And this painter has now painted 686 paintings, and they're 2.5 feet by 3.5 feet in size. They're big portraits, all right? And these portraits, I have small versions, 8 by 10, that I normally have in other countries outside the US that I put all over the wall. And very quickly, the project started building up and building up, and I had more and more portraits coming in. And then I got to a point where I'm like, well, this is becoming more than just inspirational leaders. What I'm doing is documenting some of the most important people from history who have defined the world we live in. So then I had to make a decision. Do I get people who have been leaders in the world but have left a negative legacy? And so you've got Hitler and Stalin and Mao Zedong and Pol Pot and a whole range of people who, in reality, we can't discuss the 20th century without talking about Hitler and Stalin. You just can't. You can't fathom the whole 20th century without talking about those leaders because they're instrumental to the whole way the world got shaped. And so I went and got their portraits done. They're not available for sale. No one can buy them, but they have to be part of the collection so we can discuss world history and bring in all these different people as part of it all. So the leader portraits grew from being just inspirational portraits to leaders of the world. Whatever you've brought, positive or negative impact, let's discuss the positives and the negatives of everything you've done. And I can sit in front of my wall of portraits for hours, for days. I could lose myself because I'm researching all the time. I'm getting new portraits done, and I'm linking people together that most people don't know. Like this portrait links to this portrait. This person knew this person. This person was influenced by this person. And so there's a whole lot of links that help tell a story that most people never get to hear. They think of these leaders in isolation, but when you can start telling a story and throw in 3, 4, 5 leaders and make a whole story around it, it becomes captivating, becomes engaging. People are like, wow, I wish this is how I learned history. Yeah. And so I'm very happy with how the project's going. My painter is doing fabulous, and we've still got at least another 5, 7 years to go. And I'm going to get him painting as long as he can. He's currently in his mid-60s, late 60s. And he said to me, my biggest fear is I'm not going to be able to complete the project. Or I'm going to get too old, I'm not going to have a steady hand.
Keeps him
so
alive and healthy.
I said to him, you to keep painting. You keep painting as long as you can, and I'll keep buying every single thing you do. Now, if you're an artist and you get given a lifetime contract to paint, that's a pretty sweet deal. There aren't many artists out there who have a lifetime contract to paint. And that's what he's got. He can paint every portrait for the rest of his life and know he's got money coming in and until he's in his mid-80s or whatever time he passes away. So, yeah, love the project. Very deep and meaningful to me. And it adds something to our training room that no one else in the world has got. No one else. You walk into a training room, seats, and you have a stage and maybe a couple of posters up. But when you see this wall of world leader portraits, you really see something unique that's been created specifically for the training room that no one else has got.
Yes. Hartmut, who I brought with me the last time, he was talking about it, how great he considered this history lesson and how knowledgeable you are about all these people and how great it was just to listen to you and that he could have gone on and on listening to you. And I think this is also like learning from all these people, from all these biographies. This is a very important part in your training. Yeah.
I've definitely grown a lot in my understanding of the world and how the world works and where the challenges are by having to read about all these different people from all different fields. So, I've got musicians and artists and nurses and generals and politicians and social activists and business people. And it pulls me. And so when someone says, hey, have you heard about this leader? I'm like, who? This new mathematician? Tell me about it. And so I'm having to learn about them growing up and their environment and who influenced them. And at some point, I've got 7 books waiting to get released. They're already they're all there. I just need to go and edit the books. I had some team help me write them all and put them all together. I got 7 books sitting in the wings waiting for me to go and edit and start releasing them. Yeah. And so I got to get off my backside and do those and release those books because they're great. They're just sitting there waiting for me to go through and do a final edit on them. But the books are different, and they're not just a chronology of here's a whole lot of dead people. They're from a perspective of these are people you need to learn about as entrepreneurs, and here's what they did, but here's what you learn, and here's how you can apply it to get better results in your business. And I think that's what makes these books valuable, is they come from an entrepreneur perspective versus just a list of dead people.
Right. And I just remembered a conversation we had last time. I think I'm allowed to call you a feminist also. You're very pro women and helping women to also have the same rights and the same powers as men. And we were talking about this. I don't know if you remember, but I said that there are so many more portraits of men than there are about women.
It's 90%.
Yeah.
90% of the leaders on the wall are men because most of history has been written by men about men.
Yes.
And the sad truth is there's a whole lot of women out there who have done amazing things who aren't acknowledged. And so I'm constantly looking at how I can add more and more women to the wall. And, just recently, probably about a year ago, I added, 12 new women who I hadn't had before, who are all different areas that people say, hey, think about this person, think about that person. And, I would love to have a room just with women leaders on the wall.
Yeah.
55 large portraits of women leaders, because there are a whole different perspective of the world if you're surrounded by female energy. So am I a feminist? Not necessarily. I'm more about equality and that everybody can contribute to this planet.
Okay, so sorry for calling it that.
Oh, that's okay. If it's feminism because I want to bring feminine up to be equal, so they have an equal voice, absolutely.
That's what
And
I not some
a lot,
quotes.
a lot of my games rewrite history and put men and women on a par in history. So when I look at a game, a lot of them I rewrite it, and so in the kingdoms of the past or the pharaohs, the male and the female pharaohs are both considered equals, co-ruling Egypt.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of times I correct history of how it should have been, that men and women were equals.
Yeah, and you are also good role models here, I would say. You as a couple.
Well, thank you. She definitely chops off my rough edges, sledgehammer. But what she does is she brings great perspectives. And we're just looking at a new game we're creating called Stellar Success. And she read the rules and was like, whoa, 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 way too masculine, way too combat oriented. I want you to change this, and this.
Yeah.
And absolutely open to listening to it, because she brings great perspectives. She brings great ideas. And it's nearly always coming from an add value, how it can get better.
Mhm. Yes. No, I think you're doing great together. I mean, it's not an easy job. You found yourself here. You have a lot of work. You also have a small son. Yeah. So yeah, I see it. Yeah, how tough it is, and that you're really doing a lot, and that you're really having a very huge vision, and that you are at it all the time.
I'm not easy to live with. I find personalities who voluntarily come out and teach out of me. And you've got to be able to absorb all of that, plus the main part of me, which has my own beliefs and my own structures and my own habits. And so she's come into this crazy world, like stepped inside this crazy world, attempting to navigate it. Is it easy? No, not for either of us. But she brings so much that it definitely makes my life better. It definitely makes the company better.
Yeah. It's great. I love it how the two of you are in the training room. Yeah, so yeah, that's why we will see each other in 2 weeks again. Clinton, one question I really wanted to ask you as like a final question is, how did this all start? I mean, now we are talking about a thing that is 20 years old and has seen it all and will see more, and is still such a huge vision. But how did it start off? What was your first idea, and does it really compare what came out of it, or yeah, just what were the beginnings?
So I grew up playing games a lot with my friends or my family and creating games. Rather than just buying games, I just created a lot of games. And then, so my first financial game was created at age 9. And then I used to play role-playing games a lot. So I grew up as a gamer. I used to play games enormously. Every weekend we were playing games for like 6, 7 hours a day. And I got into investing in real estate. I owned a lot of real estate. And then I made some mistakes. And that cost me a lot of money. And so I stepped out of the real estate market to work on me, because I realized the mistakes I was making, the one common thing to every single mistake was me. So I stepped out of the market to work on me. And I took the game Cash Flow from Kiyosaki that I played religiously with my friends and my employees continuously. I took that as a base, and then I created my own game called the Millionaires Market. So the Millionaires Market was not 6 people around a board. It was 5, 10, 20, 30, 400 people playing the game live in the room where there's no board. The room is the board. And so the Millionaires Market, I used to run that up and down the coast of California 50 times. And everyone loved it, but it wasn't making any money. So I then started turning, and the students were saying, we want more. We want more content to learn how we can play the game better. So I then created a 3-day course. And on the 3-day course, they played the game 3 consecutive days but learned material each evening how to get better the following day. And the students love that. And so from that, they're like, we want more. So I started creating more courses and more courses and more courses. And now I'm at 28 courses that have been running, that run all around the world with over 200 plus games of just amazing material. And so it really grew out of evolution. It wasn't a vision I had in the very beginning. I'm going to create frontier trainings in 20 years like this. It evolved and grew, and then I had the carnival with the faculty and brought that on. And then at one point I brought on female faculty and just expanded and added more and more courses. Then I grew as a person and I created more material. Then all the material I got better and better and deeper and richer. And so even now, 20 years later, everything we're doing is now getting better, improved, upgraded, changed, tweaked. It's not non-stop evolution of what we're doing. So if I look back 20 years to go this moment here, would I believe it was possible? Yeah, I probably believe it was possible, but I'd be like, wow, what you created was amazing. And based on how many people it's impacted around the world, yeah, I'm very blessed and very fortunate to do what I do. I know the impact it has. And frankly, I get paid to play games and have fun. In fact, inside the training room is 90% joy. It's all the other stuff, all the marketing and all the admin and operation side. That's not the fun part of the business. The training room, that's just pure joy and bliss. Yeah. So, I'm very blessed at what I do. It impacts people's lives. I get to have fun. My boy's going to grow up playing in that environment, and can't wait to share with people and come and experience it.
Yes. So let's go there then. How can they come and experience it? So as said, you are having your 20th anniversary, and I'm with Frontier Training now for 10 years, which is great. We will meet each other in 2 weeks. The podcast will be released afterwards, so then we will have met already. So let's talk about the next possibility to come to Play to Win. Play to Win is this 3 days starter training we were talking about right here in the beginning. It's breathtaking. It's really so many different possibilities to learn. And the most crazy thing, it only costs 99 pounds. So it's really nothing for 3 days packed full with life-changing games, with opportunities to really think about yourself. And the first time I came there, it was in October 2014. And the first time I came through a woman who told me about you, and it just sounded so right to go there that I decided to go there. And I was in a completely different situation at that time in my life. Yeah. And I didn't only come to London for the training, but I brought 5 people with me already the very first time, because I was just telling them I'm going to this very crazy workshop in London. And I wasn't even intending on bringing them along, but I was speaking in such high energy about it that they are asking, do you mind if I join you? Yeah. And so I was bringing 5 people the first time. I was also bringing people the second time. And just this year, I've been to Play to Win for the 3rd time. I'm usually at the advanced trainings, as I already said, but I will be there next year too, bringing lots of people along, yeah, because I really love to see what in those people, what changes for them. And just this year, when I had my daughter has been there several times, my niece, yeah, a business, two different business partners, one brought his wife and so on. And they're all still telling me how great this was for them, and it was such a huge experience. Yeah. So I told myself I want to go to Play to Win about once a year and bring people along. So this is also part why I'm recording this podcast, because it's always so hard to explain what it is. And now we were taking 1 hour so that people can understand more. So what I want to tell you now is, if you want to join me to come to Play to Win next spring, in spring 25, yeah, I really would love to take you along. You told me you don't have an exact date yet, but it will be around Easter.
I would suggest we do it twice a year. Normally around Easter, around sort of March, April, and around October, around there. The website is go to ptw.com.
Yeah, I will link it.
Go to that website. They can check whatever time you're watching this, whatever day, month of the year you're watching it. you can go to that website and you'll see the next date coming up
Yes.
for London. Go to ptw.com and you can go on there and register. It's £97. Look, there are other courses on the market right now. People are charging £3,000, $3,000. But when you get way, way less value than what you get here, and it's only £97.
Yeah.
So go and check go to ptw.com, check the dates. If the dates are available, come along, bring people. What we experience is, like for yourself, the more you can bring people around you, friends and family, the more you experience it together, and the more you're going to chat about it afterwards and keep the energy alive, but you start holding each other accountable to the learnings from the training room.
Yes.
So the more people you can bring, the more thanks you're going to get and appreciation from all those people, but you're going to absolutely make a major change in their life. And it definitely does that. And then those people will then be like, thank you for bringing me, because the £97 is nothing compared to the value they get out of it.
It's really, I'm always amazed how cheap you make it, yeah, because it's really three days so full of learning and of having fun, and really the brain works all the time. Yeah, it's three crazy days which will change whoever you are, whatever you thought of yourself and about life and about business and everything. Yeah. So, and I forgot to mention, it's of course not only in London, but there are several places. You are also in Australia and California, in Malaysia. Where else are you? I don't know. Singapore, yeah. So if people are listening to this who are not from Austria, Germany, of course you can go everywhere, but I will be there next spring. And if you want to join me, I'm going to London for the next Play to Win. I'm really looking forward. So if you have any interest, of course, your English should be good enough so that you can play the games, because otherwise it's surely frustrating. Yeah. But if you want to come, yeah, I really tell you, just write to me, ask me all the questions you still have, and I'm really looking forward to take you with me.
One more thing that would be important for people to know, that it's a very family-friendly environment. We love having families play together, learn together, and grow together. People can bring their kids, and we have Ethan in the room all the time. We have other lifetime members and other people who come to Play to Win and bring their kids, right from the age of 5, 6, 7, all the way up to whatever age the kids are. But we love having kids grow, and then parents watch their kids grow. And there are lots of times people come to the training room and they realize, oh, I can bring my kids. And then they bring the kids the next day or the day after, or the next Play to Win, they bring their whole family and then want to experience everything together. So people bring their business partners to learn the same things and be able to talk and communicate in the same language when they go back. It's open.
Kids are free up to the age of 18. And it doesn't matter what age they can be in the training room. The training room is a safe environment for the kids to be in there.
Yeah, I also brought my daughter several times, and my niece was there the last time too. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, and now she's adult, but she was there the first time. I think then she was 16 or 17 when she was there the first time. Yeah, so yeah, I can just it's just that way that my daughter always tells me about the learnings. Yeah, and she's still a little shy to go on stage. Yeah, but when I have my stage appearances, she often does my booth where I have all my flyers and everything, and she usually really loves to watch all the speakers, and she always tells me he's not doing the positions right, he's not really stretching his arm and everything. So she sees it all, she knows it all. Yeah? And last time she even also went on stage several times. Yeah. Okay, I don't even want to stop there, because it's so nice seeing you and talking to you. It's so inspirational, and there's so, yeah, it's really a family also to me. We were talking just in the beginning, you were just telling me that you're now flying to Barcelona and visiting some people from Frontier, and I've visited the same people in Barcelona when I was there 3 years ago. And it's, yeah, you have people everywhere in the world you can visit and you can talk to. And today it's so easy having an international community, and yeah, it's really nice and it's life-changing. So thanks a lot for your time. Thanks for this interview, and I'm really hoping to bring lots of people to Play to Win in spring.
Thank you for having us here and look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.